This episode of Nintendo Expansion Pass is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pop Like and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, Enlightened Excited Eddie V. Joining me is a special guest. You guys, if you're not up on your Nintendo gaming, what are you doing? You're missing out on one of the best Nintendo streamers out there. And I mean, like, he is really amazing. Everybody, please welcome Frankenstein Gaming. Hello!
How you doing? Thanks for having me. Hope you're well.
I am doing well. Can you introduce yourself to the people who haven't heard about you and what content you actually produce?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Frankenstein Gaming. I've been on Twitch and YouTube for a long time now. Been on and off with the streaming lately, but yeah, I do mostly Nintendo content. I've been dipping my toes into the Steam content a little bit more because I got a Steam Deck recently, and
Nice.
you know, I just try to spread positive vibes and enjoy the gaming.
Yes. As we're getting close to the Summer Direct this year, everybody probably gonna be starting making predictions and things. I gotta ask you, when you heard the news about Nintendo maybe mentioning the Switch successor sometime this year, what was your thoughts? Like, were you like, whoa, they finally announced something?
Yeah, I mean, it was refreshing, honestly. I was beyond tired of the videos on YouTube every day. Switch 2 Pro, Switch Pro, Super Switch coming soon. And I'm like, we need Nintendo to just tell us, hey, yeah, we're acknowledging it exists. It's coming soon. They gave us the fiscal year time frame, and it was a relief, honestly. I was hyped. I was hyped.
We're still trying to figure out because we think it's going to be 2025 in March, but we're
Yeah.
still trying to figure out what is going to be like the launch lineup on how it looks.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, a Square Enix game is going to make it? We have a feeling it is, but what game we don't know.
Square Enix specifically, I wouldn't be too mad at them getting a port of like Visions of Mana, which is coming out soon. That would be cool. I
I
think that
was
would be a
thinking of
Square Enix
that.
game. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so
yeah.
excited for that game.
If I had to make a second prediction for Square Enix, I want them to acknowledge the Dragon Quest 3 2.5D game. I want that to come out.
I hope that didn't get canceled, and when they
Yeah,
restructured the thing, I would be like heartbroken. That game looks so good when we were just seeing it.
100%, 100%.
Well, everybody, me and Frankenstein are going to be talking about, did the Nintendo Summer Direct E3s actually save video gaming, and was it part of the reason of their success? Because every time E3, now the Summer Direct, as we call it, is around, everybody wants to know what Nintendo is doing. You know, once Xbox show their stuff, PlayStation, third party indies, I think once all of everybody show their stuff, people want to know, what is Nintendo going to show. And with the Switch success being at 140 million and growing, they clown kind of for the past couple of years at E3, with a lot of games.
Yep.
How did you get into E3? Like, did you watch it back in the day? Did you read
I
about it
did.
in magazines? Like, what's your history with E3?
Um, I don't remember the exact time I like stumbled upon it, but I do remember at one point back in the day, this old gaming channel on TV called G4 was around, and they would host it.
Yeah.
And so I got into it that way. I mean, I've been gaming since I'm 4 or 5 years old, so been around it for a while. But I remember seeing it, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And I read more about it and saw that they did a yearly thing, and from there, the rest is history on that.
Which presentation did you always look forward to outside of Nintendo? Like,
Hmm. Back then, I would probably say Xbox because I was really into the 360 back when Halo was king and Gears of
mhm.
War. Those two were fantastic. I can't say the same today. Xbox has kind of hurt themselves a lot, in my opinion, and really destroyed a lot of those games. But back then, definitely Xbox. I moved over to Sony later on, probably during like the PS4 era, I would say.
Ooh, okay. Well, we're gonna jump into a rundown of all. Well, so to give everybody's head up, we're gonna be talking about some of the games from their Nintendo Directs that they only showed during the summer. I do have to say that there wasn't a Nintendo Direct in 2020 because of the pandemic. I have tried to look for things and there wasn't
Mm.
nothing there that year. So we're gonna start with their direct in 2017, and the games they showcased was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Kirby, Pokemon Tournament Deluxe, Metroid Prime 4 announcement, Yoshi's Crafted World, Fire Emblem Warriors, Breath of the Wild DLC, Arms, Mario and Rabbids, Splatoon 2, Rocket League, Super Mario Odyssey. That was all just in that direct. Um, Out of that list, did you play any of these games out of this list, and what did you take away from?
I'm not gonna lie. This might have been one of Nintendo's like best console year launches they could have had
Oh
for an
yes,
E3. Like we had, I think I definitely own everything on this list. Whether I played them is another story. I'm a serial like buy and move to backlog or play it and then move on kind of person. But
welcome to West
I,
Fresh Network, Frankenstein.
yeah,
We all
there you
are
go.
in that boat.
I definitely beat Mario Odyssey. That game was 10 out of 10, fantastic. I'm really hoping for a new full 3D Mario
Hmm.
for the Switch 2. I am working my way through Chronicles 1. I do own 2. And Mario and Rabbids was probably one of the standout titles just because it was weird that Nintendo was like opening their doors a little bit to work with another company and like share their IP a little bit. So I thought that was
Yes,
cool. And I like tactical games, so I thought that was solid. But yeah, the rest of the games I definitely played and owned. I think Arms got the short end of the stick because it came out right before Splatoon 2. I'm like, you can't really compete with that. Splatoon's a beast. It's like one of their pillars now. So yeah,
I remember everybody was worried about Splatoon when it came on Wii U, and it just did crazy numbers.
crazy numbers, crazy numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I pretty much own almost everything on this list. Xenoblade 2, Kirby. I
Hmm.
don't own Pokken Tournament on Switch, but I own it on the Wii U.
Hmm.
Craft the World, man, when that game came out, I played it all the way. It was literally my game of the year. Like it was a perfect 10. And I know Breath of the Wild was already out at that time, but
Right.
man, Craft the World just the music, the level design, the boss fights against Bowser Jr. was just it was just so amazing with that game and the technical aspects and how creative that they were doing the levels backwards and um doing a automatic level in the bathtub was insane. I'm like, Nintendo, what are you doing? um I didn't really like Fire Emblem Warriors.
I
That is
liked
the crazy
the second
thing.
one. I liked the second one, whatever that one's called.
Yes,
I forget.
Three
This
Hopes.
one, yeah, this one was like super grindy, like way too grindy. I like Fire
Yeah.
Emblem. I like grindy games. Warrior games are cool, but I think the completion to do all of this is incredible. It's almost as bad as the first Zelda Warriors game, which has an insane hours per completion rate. It's incredible. Um, so I'll give you that for sure, definitely. Um,
Yes.
speaking of 2017 and the direct, I know we're focusing on Switch, but they also released. I saw Ever Oasis on the 3DS. If you've heard of that game, it was made by Grezzo.
Yes. I when I found out that it was Grezzo and the people who I think that it was the people who made Secret of Mana. Uh, it was
Um,
one or who one of them worked on I think on the meta games or they worked on certain some game, and when they mentioned it, I when that game came out, I ran to the store to buy it. I bought it on day one with Ever Oasis. I mean, and I didn't finish it, but I loved that game.
yeah, they also did the. I'm pretty sure they did the Ocarina of Time 3D game for 3DS when they remade it. So
Yes,
yeah, Grezzo had a good track record for sure, and this was one of those last years that they were doing the DS and Switch before they just were like, all right, full send Switch. And 2017 was solid and had a lot of content, and it only got better from there.
man, we still trying to figure out how did they pull off 2019 because that September in 2019, man, you just from July to September, July, you have Fire Emblem Three Houses, mad sellout with that game. Um, uh,
I picked that game up a
was it?
week early at a local store because they were selling it early.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Amazon lost my collection, so
Oh,
I was able to order the collector's edition of Three Houses, to come, and they ended up losing it. They never brought it to my house, and I had to
that's
call them and
that's
get a
terrible.
refund.
At
Yeah.
least you got the
Um,
refund, but that's not crazy at all. I would hate that.
Well, I ended up ordering Link's Awakening and Astral Chain because Astral Chain dropped that August, and then
Mm,
Link's Awakening
mm.
dropped that September. Link's Awakening, Demon X Machina, and Dragon Quest 11 all dropped that month in September.
That's
It was
that's
like
a heavy month. I had all three of those for sure.
I do too. It was everybody was just like, "There's no way I'm going to get through this," because it was like Link's Awakening first, then it went to Demon X Machina, and then it went to Dragon Quest, and then next month you had Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm like,
Which
"Are
was
you
amazing.
serious?"
Hmm.
And I think Sony doing God of War?
Probably. Yeah, that maybe tracks. I think yeah, that time frame tracks or close to it. Maybe it was 2018, but it was right around there.
Okay,
For that. Yeah.
yeah, because they're just heavy hitters. I'm just like, dang Nintendo, how in the heck do you do this? Uh,
God of War was 2018, but
oh,
still.
2018. Okay. What was the Sony game? Was it Sony or Microsoft? It had to be Sony. Something was hidden for the other consoles that were just because like that September had like five big names. The Witcher, that's it.
Mm,
The Witcher
mm.
Wild Hunt was dropping for Switch that year.
Right, that's
And
that. There you go.
and everybody was just like, I'm gonna get the Witcher, and it did 1 million copies plus. And most of the people who beat the Witcher beat it through on Switch.
Well, it was also one of the only cartridges at that time to use the bigger cart to get all of the content on cart, so you don't have to download it.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And I honestly wished more devs would have done that. To be honest.
Well, I think everybody was waiting for the 64 gigabyte carts, and they never
Hmm.
came.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2019 and 2019 was a just a good direct in general as well. With well, we kind of skipped over 2018
Well,
with the
let's
whole
get into
announcement of
2018.
Smash.
Yeah, let's get into 2018 because that one was that one. So Damon X Machina definitely took. I love Smash, but that trailer for Damon X Machina in 2018 when they
Yeah.
came and that soundtrack was a banger. I was listening today and I'm just like, why didn't y'all put this out to sale? Like I would have bought
Mm.
it. I'm like, and this is just a trailer. Yeah, so the director 2018, the games they showed was Damon X Machina, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, The Golden Country, so that was the DLC. Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, Super Mario Party, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fortnite, Hollow Knight, Overcooked 2, Octopath Traveler, Just Dance 2019, Arc, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and then they ended it with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where they showed when the logo was "Everybody is here."
Right. Yeah,
And
that was a banger way to end it. They did a good job with 2018 too. I mean, they had a good variety. You had your Mario Party finally on there. You
mhm,
already had Mario Kart, then you had Smash. They were like drip feeding all of the staple Nintendo games from each what do you call it, generation. They were like, "Oh, well, we need a Mario Party now. Let's throw this one in." I don't really like this one. I like the one that came after it better, but
mhm.
I bought it. And we got the Pokemon tease from 2017 announced at this one because they were like they had what's his name the Pokemon the Game Freak director say, hey, yeah, we're gonna do a Pokemon reveal for Switch. We're developing right now, and that was with
Oh
this game.
yeah,
So that was cool. I was a good one for sure.
yes. Definitely for I know for me, with this one, like Hollow Knight was big. I remember Fortnite caused all the controversy because of Sony not being able to do the crossplay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
and
then Fortnite unironically helped crossplay become a thing of gaming, which is a beautiful thing.
yeah, I know, like it's very weird to see that Hollow Knight dropped, because I think was this the same year as no Hades dropped in 2019? No, did Hades drop in 19? I think
The
so.
first Hades, I feel
Yes,
like it dropped in December of 18, or like right around summer or right around Jeff Keighley's show. I
because I
think that's
remember that it got Game of the Year for a lot of places, and I know it was a very big seller. With
yeah,
it,
definitely.
man.
This says December 2018.
Okay, so man, the Switch ended up getting the trifecta. So Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, and Hades. Even though Hades was in early access on Epic Games, the full
Yeah.
game came out on Switch, and it was that surprise drop. Yeah, because Nintendo in that September Nintendo Direct, they showed off Hades coming to Switch.
Hmm.
It was like a
Hmm.
console time exclusive, and it just man, you cannot get off of Twitter without seeing people talking about Hades
Yeah, I
when that
mean,
mug dropped.
those three, a lot of people were into. I'm not really into Hollow Knight. I tried to play it, I couldn't get into it,
Mhm.
but I respect the people who want Silk Song. Maybe eventually you'll get it, but
Well,
otherwise,
I
a good
think
direct.
yeah, I think Microsoft has the marketing exclusive now for
Yeah.
Silksong. Because they showed it in theirs, and when the last Nintendo Direct came out, Nintendo didn't show anything, even for the indie Direct. So I think Microsoft got that on
I think
locked.
it'll be shown next month. To be honest with you, I think it is.
I hope so.
I think it
Come on,
is.
Microsoft.
They got the other one. They got Visions of Mana too, marketing exclusive rights. It seems because they always announce the new stuff on Microsoft first for that game, which is
Yeah,
weird.
it's well, it yeah, because I didn't even know if it was coming to PlayStation or not. I really thought this was a Microsoft exclusive.
So did I.
Um,
So I'm thankful it's not, but so did I.
yeah. So that game looks beautiful in that soundtrack. I messaged not messaged I tweeted out Chad Caselmo, and I told him because he's kind of like leading doing the marketing stuff for that, and I told him I'm super excited for this game. Please
Right.
tell the team to put out a CD for the soundtrack because I need the music. I'm super excited for that one. Uh, yeah, so that's 2018. Fire Emblem Three Houses, didn't no one know how big that game would be in 2019, and in fact, um, it put it at another level for
Yeah.
the Fire Emblem series that I had just did a expansion pass about genre defining games, and Fire Emblem like Three Houses is kind of a genre defining because it's like it really makes you care about relationships, and it really makes you care about your teams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there's no normally when you get now this relationship stuff, of course people go to Persona, but I'm like, people replay that game to see other side stories and who they could match and stuff. And people were just like, well, blue is my team. Here I am, team
It
yellow.
was,
Here I am,
yeah,
team
yeah,
red.
yeah. You bring up a good point. It was basically Fire Emblem and Persona fused. It was a cool concept, and I kind of think it helped along with the 3DS games prior bring Fire Emblem really,
Hmm.
really further into the West for sure.
Yeah. Awakening and Monster Hunter 3. No, Monster Hunter 4 or 3DS got people into each of their series.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
so
Both good games as well.
so good. Me and my friend, we drove an hour um to get to out to Chicago to go to this electronics store because they're the only ones that had the Monster Hunter 3DS
Oh wow.
there, and the Fire Emblem one. And when we got there, gone. I'm like, oh dang it. Well, we're gonna snag these games and skedaddle. uh,
Yeah. I mean, another good year. I think at this point, Nintendo's already starting to prove themselves in 2018 with
hmm
everything going on. I mean, they've had a lot of bangers, and then I think 2019, like you were saying, is really where it starts to just hit.
yeah, so 2019, they just went overboard with announcements. They started off with the Dragon Quest 11 Smash DLC, and then they also announced Dragon Quest 11. Doug Bowser was introduced. That's why the Bowser joke happened. Luigi's Mansion 3, The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, Tactics, Link's Awakening, Trials of Mana, and the Collection of Mana, The Witcher 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Resident Evil 5 and 6, No More Heroes 3, Contra Roll Corps, Contra Collection, Daemon X Machina, Panzer Dragoon, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Astral Chain, Empire of Sin, Ultimate Alliance 3, Cadence of Hyrule, Mario Sonic at the Olympics, Animal Crossing New Horizon, Banjo Kazooie DLC Smash, and Tears of the Kingdom was first revealed without the actual name.
Insane.
Man.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Like, wow. I thought they were done after Animal Crossing when they did this, and then they had the Banjo Kazooie reveal, which is probably my second favorite Smash reveal out of all of the
Mm.
ones they did. And then just saying, "Here's Tears of the Kingdom. We're working on a new Zelda title." Oh, what a great way to end! Nintendo is super good at ending their conference or direct every time. They've got it down.
They know they had to go out big.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
definitely.
and this is I think this was the time that Microsoft and Nintendo started working very well together. Definitely Minecraft was on there, but
Mm-hmm.
um it was just like when people started seeing Microsoft stuff being talked about on Nintendo platforms, everybody's seeing the good business that they had. I'm just like, oh, this is some money for Microsoft. This is just
Yeah,
these are some good coins for each of them. And because I'm like, you literally think about it, like this their relationship allowed Golden I 007 to be on NSO while also being on their platform and everything. It's just like we talk about Japan and Microsoft, and it would be a
right.
good thing if Nintendo really helped Microsoft out in Japan. I know they're somewhat competitors, business and stuff, but I'm like, man, they would do so well if they were just something that they could do to help out. Because like with the Switch successor, Microsoft is going to have a development kit for the
Right. Yeah,
Activision stuff.
definitely. Has to. And speaking of GoldenEye, I think the Switch version is the only one that has online, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
So that was cool that they were able to swing that and keep with the NSO. Um, this was another just crazy year for them. They started big with Dragon Quest, having them in the reveal. I saw the Japanese reactions; people went insane. It was this Dragon Quest specifically is the one that really got it to the West because before that it was like popular but not crazy popular. Like
Hmm.
11 is like everyone's favorite Dragon Quest and mostly most people's first Dragon Quest. Then they go back and play the other ones, and then Luigi's Mansion 3 and is my one of my favorite Nintendo platforms. And then obviously I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so when they showed Sword and Shield, I'm like, thank you. Finally, we got a core one going. It's good. It's
And
nice. And
everybody's arguing who their starter is, and that I'm just like,
yeah,
well, I'm always grass type, so anything that's grass related is always going to get picked and
I hear you.
everything.
I hear you. And it was
Ah.
cool to see Ultimate Alliance brought back after being in like hiatus for so long. That was like the one IP I didn't think was going to come.
And that was and because that year at the Game Awards, when they announced that game and when they announced Persona, when Joker was coming to Smash, like
Yep.
if you go
Yep.
back and watch that Game Awards, that's when everybody was into the Game Awards and literally love it. So when future show starts coming and we stop seeing a lot of Nintendo stuff, everybody was just like, "Oh, this is not the show that we
Yeah.
care to
Yeah.
see," and everything.
Well, with respect to Nintendo, they at least know when and when not to show something. Like if they don't have
Mm-hmm.
something that they're confident in, they won't show it. And I think that's good. Whereas a lot of the other companies are like, "Oh, we'll announce something." Like Bethesda announced Elder Scrolls 6. That game is not coming out for another 10 years. It's like, what are we talking about? Why don't do that? They did it one time with Metroid Prime 4, and I don't think they should have.
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't have that game, so I think they're just like, yeah, that was a mistake. We're not trying to do that anymore. So,
I, I I think they had so much hope for it,
hmm
and it was ready to go, but because I think a lot of people didn't realize that if this was Bandai Namco, they got to realize that Japanese developers there do not make first person shooters.
yeah,
That Final Fantasy one with there was a Final Fantasy first person shooter that Square did with Vincent. Um, he had his own game and the controls were bad because first person shooters developed by Japanese developers wasn't a
there.
thing
Yeah,
around that time.
I'm trying to remember
So
what the game is called that you're talking about, but I know I recognize it. I think it was on PS2. Um, it'll
yeah,
come
it
to me.
was.
It'll
You can
come
look
to
it
me,
up.
but
That's
let's see. It's gonna bother me if I don't. But no, that's a good point. And funny enough, Metroid Prime 4 is one of the ones I think if it's not shown next month, which I don't think it will be, I think it's
mhm,
going to be a launch title for the Switch 2, and I think it's going to do what they did with Breath of the Wild and also be on the Switch 1 as like a
yeah,
cross gen game. Dirge of Cerberus, that was what it was called.
that's it. Yes. Um, and I think a lot of people got to realize because this was big news that I'm like, okay, so you got people from Battlefield, people from Call of Duty, and people from Halo working at Retro to make this Metroid. Oh, I know they had to be thinking of some crazy stuff,
Yeah.
and plus, once Retro moved into their new building, I know that kind of delayed stuff. So
Yeah, and they restarted development too. Yeah.
yeah, so I think Nintendo was ready to go be gung ho, but they were just like, you know what, this is not coming together. This is all a mess. Retro, we take your baby and do what you do. We're going to be
Yeah.
doing all of this
Yeah.
other stuff.
I'm hopeful we get the other two, Metroid 2 and 3 before 4, because
For
we got the first one and the remake. Well, we'll call it a remaster. It's not really a remake,
yeah,
but quality remake. Or God, you see what I just did? Quality remaster for sure. I keep saying remake because it kind of felt like it was a remake. Like the visuals were improved, the
oh
game just
yeah,
felt super nice. It wasn't just like, oh, here's Metroid. Like, nah, it felt good. So I want them to do the same thing with 2 and 3 before 4, so you have it all in one. Because I'm one of those people who hates when like games are split across 10 platforms. I'm looking at you like Yeast and Trails and all that. But
I used to
um,
call I used to call it YS on the TurboGrafx because I used to have it on that system, and I
mhm,
and didn't pay attention to the apostrophe that was on it. So and they never told no, you never knew what the
mhm.
name was, so you would think it's Y's, but I used to just call it YS for some reason.
YS works. I mean, it's just like there's so many of them, and a lot of them are stuck on old hardware unless you buy them on Steam, and
Hmm.
that's the one problem I have with Nintendo. And they just are good about keeping stuff behind, and then eventually they're like, "Oh, it's been 20 years. Let's like port this game that we forgot about, or let's remake this game, or add a sequel to this game." So
Yes. Cause man, I already know we would not hear the end of it if Nintendo said, "Oh, our last thing in Mother 3 drops on NSO."
I just got
They
a,
if
I just got a ROM, not a ROM, cartridge of the English translation on GBA to play through, and I'm one of my Discord people were like, "Oh, well, they're gonna announce it next month, so that was a waste of money." And I'm like, "Don't say that, please don't say
they
that."
won't. No. Um, which was actually informative to me because I thought Earthbound actually was the first one. I didn't know that Earthbound Beginnings was an NES game. I didn't know Earthbound
Hmm.
started on the NES.
And we have both of those on NSO, I believe.
Yeah, we got both of them on it. Yes,
Yeah,
but it was just a shock to me. I'm like, wait, Earthbound was on NES. Weird. Like, e- I
yeah,
EGM was my gaming bible. And so every time I got EGM and I would read like the international news, Sushi X, anything that they was talking about gaming related, I've never seen them talk about Earthbound for NES and none of the issues.
that's crazy. This is what I mean.
Yes.
It's like this untouched thing, and it's worth a lot of money, and they don't want to touch it or do anything with it. It's kind of a sad thing, but whatever.
Nintendo, we want to give you these coins. We want to subscribe.
Right.
And Contra Collection, I definitely had to have because I had missed playing the first Contra. Um,
Mm-hmm. I,
but
I I
Contra
definitely
Roll
bought that as
Corp,
well.
yeah, Contra Roll Corp. Interesting game, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that
uh,
that's about where I'm at with it.
yes. So we're gonna hop into the direct of 2023, 2021. We got Tekken and Smash, Life is Strange remaster collection, and Life is Strange True Colors. Guardians of the Galaxy was a cloud version of it, which I gotta say, I have it on Xbox. A really great game,
It
really
is
good
definitely
game.
good. Yeah,
um, Warren's Rumble, Astria Ascending, Two Point Campus, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania, Mario Party Superstars, Metroid Dread. We will get into that, trust me. Just Dance 2022, Cruising Blast, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and a new Power Awakens set. Mario Golf Super Rush, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Rings of Ruin, WarioWare Get It Together, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Danganronpa Decadence, Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1, Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters 1 and 2, Strange Brigade, Mario Rabbit Sparks of Hope, Advance Wars 1 plus 2 Reboot Camp, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Expansion Pass Wave 1, um Anuma starts talking about the Legend of Zelda series, the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, and there was a Game and Watch for the Legend of Zelda, and then we got the more visuals for the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then they wrapped it up. Okay, so let's jump into this Metroid Dread because the internet blew up after
yeah.
that.
That was a great announcement. I thought they forgot about how to make side scrolling Metroids for a little bit,
Hmm.
and I was like, wow, this is dark, gritty, awesome collector's edition, cool amiibos as well. I definitely purchased all of that, and it was a great game, solid game. And then they gave some updates to it, like the I think there was that hard mode with the one life and the boss mode. Great,
Yeah,
great game.
Mercury Steam. And everybody knew it was them once Samus did their counterattack. Um,
Yeah,
that's when
yeah,
everybody was just like, yeah, that's Mercury Steam. And then, of course, everybody later on, even before the game came out, the Switch OLED drops. the announcement, and that game looks beautiful.
It
I,
does. It
I
does.
yeah, I pre-ordered. I had to actually go to Racine, Wisconsin, to get
Sheesh.
my well, I'm not just like an hour from it, but I had to get it because they the only ones left that had pre-orders for the OLED and for Metroid Dread. All the collector's editions sold out. I was just like,
Wow. I
um,
I got the collectors for Metroid, but I held off on the OLED until way later. Like this, I got the Scarlet and Violet OLED for Pokemon, and that
oh
was where I
nice.
jumped in on the OLED train because I was like, do I need it? This was at the time where people were like saying, well, maybe wait because they might be doing a Switch Pro, and now it's 2024 and we still don't have one. So I
Yeah.
was like, in 20 when they did the Scarlet and Violet one, I'm like, yo, I gotta get this. I'm too big of a Pokemon fan, and I think I don't remember if it was this year or in 22. I got the Diamond and Pearl Switch Lite because that's my favorite gen. So I got that, and I was like,
Oh,
I don't need the OLED. And then I was like, I need the OLED.
why did I not know you, Frankenstein? By that time, we have a ranking Pokemon for Boss Rush, and we
Oh
rank
boy.
what our rank was the starters for each game
Okay.
for each gen.
Yep.
Um, and I would have had you on with another guest, and we would have talked about because what we did was we took that game or we took that series and we ranked those starters and their evolutions.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I got you.
And I was just
That's
like,
that's a lot.
who would you? Oh man, we it was a good ranking. It was a good one, and just the history of Pokemon.
We'll have to run it. We'll have to run it back when the 30th anniversary happens in
When
26.
is
We'll
it?
do it then.
Oh,
2026.
26. Oh yes, oh yes. Uh,
We'll have to run it back.
Of course, of course. But yeah, man, Metroid Dread just amazing. I called my friend. I took the day off because I wanted to watch it. I went to
Okay.
Target to get something to drink, and on my way to Target, I literally called my friend, um, in the car, talking for a good 25 minutes. Literally, we could have podcast our whole conversation, and we were just like, "This is going to be insane." I'm like, we couldn't believe that they did it. He's a big Metroid fan, and I was just like, okay, so they're saying that this is the end of the story. What is Metroid 6 gonna look like?
Right.
Because then we were just like, there's two things that will always happen, or I feel like that's gonna happen. If Mercury System feel like they about to go out of business, Nintendo is gonna buy them, and then
Yeah.
they will be the developers of 2D Metroid, and nobody would be upset about it.
Mm-hmm. I wish they did the same thing with Alpha Dream, but they didn't. So
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Um, man, Alpha Dream, they just
they just bought company last night or yesterday.
shiver.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nintendo's doing things. I think they're doing that to prep the porting of games to the Switch 2 that are more difficult or AAA sort of thing. I think that's what that
But
move was for.
because this is a question that we're gonna have when we do our Power Block episode, is that Nintendo's allowing them to continue their business as usual. So any kind of
Sure.
porting and
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, does that mean that they could port stuff to Xbox and PlayStation and phone games and PC? I really wonder what are they going to allow for them to port, like third party games and stuff. Um,
I mean, they can still reap the benefits, and then when they need them to port something to Switch that Nintendo doesn't want to do in house, they can use them
mhm.
and say, "All right, run with this because you have an okay track record here, and get it done." And if the Switch 2 is going to be having the graphics that people say they have, I think it was a smart move.
Yeah, and Nintendo got all that coin. It was just like we owe you 100%. We're not, we're
Yeah,
not.
really.
They bought all of their stock. I was just like, dang. I was just like, well, y'all are the richest company in Japan, so
Yeah, you got it like that. Why not?
Yeah, I got a
Um,
billion plus yen in cash. So
2021 Direct though also Shin Megami Tensei 5, great game. Excited for the
yes.
remake. What do you call it? Advance Wars. I was over the moon when we got this announcement. I know I got delayed. I
Uh-huh.
It's okay. It was great. Mario Golf Super Rush. I put like a ton of time into that game with some coworkers and friends. That game was great. And this is the Mario Party that I enjoyed more than the first one, Superstars. I thought this was a good one. And we got Skyward
Yeah.
Sword. We don't have the other ones, but we got Skyward Sword. The one probably people wanted the least out of the three. So
That is true. I think a lot of people were just like, well, how they going to do the controls? Well, we found out how they did the controls for that. Um,
I think
I
it was
know.
okay. It was better than you know only having motion. I was happy to like be able to use a pro controller. It wasn't fantastic, but it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, once I didn't know Advance Wars reboot kept once they made the music sound, and I was just like, huh? But once they started showing the game off in the play thing, I'm like, wait a minute, Advance Wars?
That's what I'm
I
saying. They just leave stuff dormant for 20 years, and then they're like, "All right, bet let's make a sequel or a remake."
My mouth was agape because I'm just like, I'm like, this series was the heart of the GBA and DS. Like Advance Wars, people, man, that's all people were talking about once it dropped. So to
Yeah,
see
man,
this, to see this mug, I'm like, oh yeah, if y'all like Fire Emblem, y'all gonna love this series and everything.
100%, 100%.
And then my favorite company, Way For It, was developing, and I was just like, yes. So, yeah, 21 had, man, just bangers, all around. And then we get to our direct 22. And this one was a mini partners direct for this one. So we got Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, Near Automata, the End of Yora edition, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Super Bomberman R2, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, Pac-Man World Repack, Blanc, Ready to Return to Monkey Island, Mario Rabbit Spark of Hope, Little Nova, Scission of Paradise, Well Grey, RPG Time, The Legend of Right, Sonic Frontiers, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Live Alive, Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom, Minecraft Legends, Dragon Quest Treasures, Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, No Man's Sky, A Plague's Tale Requiem Cloud version, Captain Velvet Meteor, The Jump Plus Dimensions, Portal Companion Collection, Harvestella, and the Persona series, which was Persona 4, Golden, Persona 5, and Persona 3, Portable.
Banger direct again. This is what I'm saying, man. They were on the tear. Sunbreak, Monster Hunter Rise, and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, great games. They
Yes.
have good stuff from World along with better and faster movement. Super excited for Monster Hunter Wilds. Um, Super Bomberman R2 was cool. I liked the first one better, I think. Battle Network Legacy Collection was my game of this direct that I was like, finally, these games are coming to modern hardware. And it's all of that. It's great. It's an awesome collection to own. Sparks
Mm-hmm.
of Hope was good. Live Alive was good. Dragon Quest Treasures was so, but it was still Dragon Quest. Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes is the one we were talking about. Great game. Harvestella, honestly, sleeper hit was pretty good. And then having Persona on the Switch was fantastic. We don't have 1 and 2, but we got 3, 4, and 5.
Well, I
That was
think
cool.
1 and 2 has to be remade because
I
if
think they're a little
I play,
dated, yeah.
yeah, because I'm like the first. I think the first I played Persona 1 on PlayStation 1, and I think the first part of it takes place in a hospital.
Hmm.
Um, when you start the game, and I know it was on a Diac. With it, and everybody, this is when Atlas was like very niche. Like no one knew who they were.
Yeah.
Or playing their games. Like if you found an Atlas game in store and you didn't buy it, you were never going to see it for whoever picked it up. Like they weren't restocking anything. They probably put like 5,000 copies of a game out, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true. And now they're amazing.
Pretty much, yes. Um, for me, for this one, yes, my son of rice, sunbreak near automata, good googly moogly. That game is so good, and it runs
Yeah,
amazingly well on Switch. I'm like,
still on
there's no way
my
they're gonna have
playlist.
this game.
Still on my
Oh,
playlist. I own it. Still on the to play list.
yeah, I made sure I found out that see, because nobody said that Best Buy was doing pre-orders for it, so I literally found out that they was doing pre-orders on it. Put my pre-order and once the game came out, I had to drive to a whole nother city to get it because certain Best Buys was doing it and others weren't.
Sure.
And once I got there and was able to pick mine up, I got home, put that mug in, and was just like, yeah, this feels really good. Not as fast as the PS4 version or anything, but I'm like still action packed
Yeah, definitely.
with it. I know Mega Man Battle Network. I do still need to pick up. Um,
Oh,
I
definitely buy it.
yeah, it was. I didn't. I think I couldn't grasp on how the game worked. With it. So I definitely want to pick it up and learn it and be like, oh, okay, Frankenstein was right about this one. Me and my friend, well, my Corey, he loves Disney Dreamlight Valley. He
It's a good time. I mean, it's basically Animal Crossing Disney. It's a good time. I played it when it was on Game Pass for a while, so no hate there.
yeah, so he placed it through Game Pass, and then he transferred his information on Switch and continued to build when he's on the
Yeah,
go and stuff.
right.
Um, so yeah, that game is great. Uh, Little Nova, City of Paradise, I have on my Switch. I'm still playing that game. I'm trying to get through it. Sonic Frontier, I have it on Xbox, but people said it was good on Switch. Live Alive, I do have, and I remember when they showcased this, I remember seeing the game in EG international game, and it never came to America.
Right. Yeah, it was nice to see that finally ported over. It was a good time.
I screamed in my house. I was just like, what? I'm like, they're bringing this, and everybody's just like, live for live. I was just like, yeah. I'm like, anyone who was in the Super Nintendo and Square Soft at that time, if you were in their community and you knew about their games, Live Alive was one that everybody was waiting for because that's when Square was like literally on fire because they had
Yeah.
the three pillars of Final Fantasy 3/6, whatever you guys want to take it as, Secret of Mana, and Chrono Trigger. Like that made Squaresoft recognizable with Secret of Evermore being the American Western game. That's how old school that I go. Because I had Secret of Evermore for Christmas. And I missed that game. And that's the one that needs to come back. Um so yeah, that was and Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Good googly moogly. Um Shez, she's she's an iconic queen. Like she's legend. Like if
It was a good game for sure. So was the Hyrule Warriors, Breath of the Wild, whatever they called that
oh
game. You know what
Age
I'm
of
talking about.
Calamity,
Age of
yeah.
Calamity. That was also good. I think they both needed to base it off of one game instead of every single game they've ever done.
True. But I think once they took away that time limit, it
Yeah,
made the games so much better. Because
true.
that was the problem that I had
Say the
with
same thing
Hyrule.
about Pikmin.
Oh, thank you, Frankenstein. Thank you for preaching. Everybody, get your Bible out. Learn, because
Same.
oh, Pikmin 4, oh, game of the year of 2023 for me. No, 2022. I'm sorry. Uh, just good googly moogly that game. We'll get into that later. But yeah, that was, and I do have Harvestella. But it's still wrapped up. Is it still in the package? It's on my back list that I need to play. But I heard that game
I
was
heard.
really good too.
Yeah, it performs pretty well. It looks good. It's a cool farm sim RPG. It's nice.
Yes. And so our last direct was the direct of 2023. They showed the hidden treasure of Area Zero for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Sonic Superstars, Polya, Persona 5 Tactica, Myth Force, which I have on my Switch that I need to start, Splatoon 3, Splatfest, Detective Pikachu Returns, Super Mario RPG, Princess Peach, the Princess Peach game for Nintendo Switch. Now that we know what it is, now, uh, uh, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, Batman Arkham Trilogy that we would not get into because we heard the third game was pretty much garbage. Gloomhaven, Just Dance 2024, Silent Hope, Fae Farm, Hot Wheels Unreleased 2, Turbocharged, Manic Mechanics, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC 2, The Last Spark Hunter, Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, Pikmin 4, Metal Gear Solid Masters Collection Volume 1, Vampire Survivors, Headbangers Rhythm Royale, Penny's Big Breakaway, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 5, Star Ocean The Second Story R, WarioWare Move It, uh, Nintendo Live 2023 before I think that's the one that got canceled that they ended up
No, I think it happened.
canceling.
I think it was in like September-ish. I could have or August. I thought in like Seattle. I could have sworn that's when
What
that was.
was it in Japan that they got canceled? I thought
Maybe
one
I'm
of them
gonna
got
double check right
canceled.
now. I'm double checking.
The amiibo figures for Zelda and Ganondorf from the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then they ended off with Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nintendo Live 2023 happened September 1st and 2nd, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, in
so
Seattle.
yeah, that was 2023. Um, man,
A lot
I
of bangers in this one too.
yes, Vampire Survivors is just addictive
Yeah,
on any
Vampire
platform.
Survivors, Super Mario Brothers Wonder showed that Nintendo can still do 2D Mario really well. Um, the Princess Peach Showtime, which we didn't know the title of at the time, I feel like it's
Yes,
good. It's just like a collection of really short platform mini games. But it was good. It's weird that they're calling Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon just Luigi's Mansion 2 now. We're just getting rid of Dark Moon, but
yeah,
I'm excited for that. Super Mario RPG is the best one on this list. Fantastic remake. I mean,
yes.
incredible. 10 out of 10. And we got some other good ones
It
on this list too.
that game really needed a remake because
It
I
did.
played it on Super. I mean, I played it on Super Nintendo, and I'm like, oh, I cannot get through some of this stuff because of the graphics they decided to use. I'm like, oh wow! And I remember everybody laughing at Fae Farm, and then Fae Farm became like a big hit with the people in farming communities, and then other people who played it end up falling in love with it.
Yeah, I got a review code for it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. You know, like you said, the farming community was fun. Silent Hope was another one that was pretty good. It's like a dungeon crawling roguelike, which was cool. I like that.
Mm. Pikmin 4,
Yeah, we
man.
finally got it after all that time. We finally got it. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pack Pass Wave 5 was cool. I like that they did that and added a bunch of courses because they're like, oh, well, this is selling so well. Why do we need to make a new one? Let's just add more courses to the game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
That's kind of how they did with Mario. Well, when they did it on Wii U for Mario Kart 8, and the DLC was on like only $13, everybody was just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna pay y'all to get this
I,
DLC."
I genuinely think they should just the next Mario Kart, whenever they do it, should just be like a Mario Kart Ultimate, and Smash should continue doing that too, and just put everything in there because you
Mm,
can't really go back. How are you going to go back from 96 courses or tracks in Mario Kart? How are you going to go back? You can't. You gotta just port this version to the Switch, upgrade some
yes.
graphics a little bit, add more characters and courses, and just keep with that. Because otherwise, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot unless you have some crazy mechanic that everyone loves. Which
Well,
I don't know.
me, me and Corey are we have a big disagreement because he doesn't like Double Dash, and I do.
Oh, that's my favorite one. So
Yes.
I'm a huge GameCube fan. You can see it on my camera right here where my finger is.
Yes, the black one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I have
I
to. I
always
have
got that
to
thing
ask.
plugged in, bro.
I had to ask, how many memory cards did you have? Because when the month was only 19.99 for a lot of space for the GameCube. I think it was the black cards, and there was
Uh,
always only $20. How many cards did you get?
I had a good bunch. I mean, I had the Animal Crossing one because it just came with it at one point.
Yeah.
I want to say I had at least six, maybe more. I had a lot. Um, I had a lot of good games. I sold a lot of my collection when I was younger, so I've been like rebuying stuff. I luckily got all the GameCube stuff that I wanted
Hmm.
before prices became incredible with the pandemic. It's a great system, and I wish Double Dash would just be a mode in Mario Kart. I think that what they don't have to remake it, just make it a mode. Like, oh, you want to do
Yeah.
racing? Okay. Do you want to do this mode or do you want to do Double Dash mode? Like, I think it'd be great.
Uh, yes. 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 Uh. Well, let's see. Um. Yeah, Pikmin 4 with Ochi and that running on Unreal, like Nintendo using Unreal Engine. I'm just like, y'all did on this. It was a
Yeah,
whole nother level and
I have
everything. Start.
WarioWare Move It. I just haven't played it yet.
Uh, yeah, I still need to get it. I don't got a lot of the WarioWare games. I think I need to get it. I know. Yeah. Um, Star Ocean, the second story R, I do have. With that
Star
one.
Ocean.
Yeah.
This is my JRPG of the year of 2023 for sure. Amazing.
Really?
It was that good. Yeah, I think it is.
I
It's
thought
my
it would be
JRPG of
Octopath
23.
Traveler 2.
Octopath Traveler 2 is up there, but I think this one was even better. The art style on both is just crazy.
Oh,
Square Enix
oh
struck gold when
yes,
they discovered that art style and were like, let's just do it. And people copying it is just welcome, in my opinion.
yes. It's so funny with Mario Brothers Wonder because when the game finally came out against Spider Man, everybody kind of
Yeah,
champion
right.
Spider Man 2, and now Wario like Wonder is still doing numbers.
Yeah,
Like
I was doing both. I was like playing both. It was like
Yeah, I do need to go finish Wonder. It just so much stuff was coming out. I'm like, oh
I
yeah,
hear it.
this is gonna be hot. Um, so oh wow, my friend just texted. Nintendo makes top 5 list of places Japanese parents want their kids to
Wow.
work
Well,
at.
there you go.
Wow. So well, we I think we kind of answered the question. I think Nintendo, like, I think their summer directs and really say E3 because they just had so many games. And yes, like I think only one that's on this list of games that haven't came out is Metroid Prime 4. Everything
That's the
else
only game.
dropped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only game that they've announced that hasn't released, and it always says TBD when they talk about it in their reports.
Yes. Yes.
I
So
think that's right. I think the
but
answer. I think you're right. The answer is definitely yes. I think oddly enough, the pandemic actually helped them too,
mhm.
because everyone was stuck at home. That's why Animal Crossing did the numbers it did, in my opinion. I don't think Animal Crossing does the same numbers if this never happened.
Oh
I just
no.
don't.
Mm-mm.
And dropping the way it did, visiting each other, everyone being home, everyone was then like, oh, there's Switch shortages, and then everyone wanted a Switch, and they're like, oh, let me get Mario Kart, let me get Smash, and then it was just compounded. And then yeah, the summer directs, in my opinion, in June are always 10 times better than the September or the February ones, which we didn't really get one this year, so I'm hoping this June one is really good.
Yes, I think because of all the most of the games being ports in, Princess Peach and Thousand Year Door kind of being the highlights in a sense. I think they were just like we could just put like these games out and still do fine because we want to
Yeah,
get ready for our next game. Me and Corey, we always talked about and saying that this is supposed to be the year for Microsoft. Nintendo could literally sit back and not do much and still be successful. When Sony said that they don't have anything planned for first party, it was a done deal. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
Sony,
definitely.
you guys could have the future if you want to for games. That's fine. But just know you need to start selling some PS5s out there and everything.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the direct for June will be cool. I think it's the last Switch only focused direct for sure. Um, and then the next one will probably have some kind of Switch 2 news in it. But I
Mm.
foresee some more ports, some remasters, maybe a new game. I don't know. We'll see. If it's new, it'll probably be something wacky or some old IP that we forgot about or that people really want that you just don't expect come out of nowhere because that's what Nintendo likes to do. But I'm just happy to
Yeah.
get one soon because the hype around Directs is unmatched.
Well, so I think Astral Chain 2 might be on the horizon or something because like Nitty and Play and Platinum has been quiet.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That'd be good. Astral Chain 1 was great.
yes. And so I'm like I kind of wonder what do they have planned? Like just a lot of the partners that Nintendo have worked with have been quiet. Um,
Yeah.
even Capcom like has been quiet around Nintendo. So it's just like, what you guys up to?
We're going
Konami's
to get
been
that
quiet.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 port. That's what we're going to get.
We well,
If
because
we
now
got
this
that
is the
out, that would break the internet for real.
no, but see, this is the battle. This is what will break the internet. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 dropping on Switch versus Soul Calibur 2 dropping on Switch.
That's a good point. I think people want Marvel vs. Capcom more, mostly because of how bad Infinite was.
Oh
Like
yeah.
three was solid, a lot of good characters. Two is considered the goat, and we've never gotten a port of it, and it would be nice to get it on modern hardware if we're not going to do it. I don't know if Disney wants to play nice anymore. We'll see.
That is true. Well, because I would take Tatsunoko versus Capcom. And just go ahead, Capcom. Give me Power Stones 1 and 2, so we could just have the whole internet pass out and die for a quick 5 minutes, and then come back to life. Be like,
Right.
oh, oh, y'all going there? Oh, okay, yeah. Capcom knows that they could get easy money if they just drop this stuff on Nintendo.
Yeah, definitely could. They're probably saving it for when they're like, this can take some time to develop. Let's just drop this.
Mm. I still want Soul Weaver though. Soul Weaver and the new Tomb Raider games, a
Yeah,
collection
that
of
would be
those.
nice. That would be nice.
So, well, Frankenstein, you want to go ahead and plug? Where can people find you, your content? Go ahead, plug.
Sure. No, thank you. I appreciate it. On Twitch, I'm twitch.tv/Frankenstein_gaming. YouTube, I'm Frankenstein_gaming. Twitter, slightly different, although it's called X now. It's at
Mm.
fstein_gaming. Character limits are the worst. Instagram, Frankenstein Gaming. I try to keep it consistent throughout. And I have on my pinned Twitter X account, my pinned tweet, all my socials or my accounts. If you want to add me on Switch or PlayStation, if you want to add me, because I don't know if we're friends on anything, feel
I
free.
thought we were. I'll add you after.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me. It's been a blast chatting about Nintendo, and I always enjoy doing that. So
You're welcome. It's good to have someone who have a lot of Nintendo history along with me. uh, uh, but everybody, that's gonna be it for Nintendo Expansion Pass. Let us know what you guys think about the Summer Direct for Nintendo. What was your favorite? What was the games? Did you buy anything that dropped when they released? We would love to know. You can join us at Power Block Podcast on Twitter, and you can come to our Discord and talk to us about games and stuff. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
thanks all.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.